Kogan in the Man Cave Classroom in A10. Going to look at a speech by President McKinley. Speech was given in 1898. So let's think about what's going on in the world before we pick apart this speech.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot's going on in the world.
Industrial Revolution. United States is expanding. There's some other things that are popping in my head. You know, Alfred Thayer Mahan's book about the need to expand, the need for new markets. You know, we're acquiring areas and islands such as Hawaii. We're acquiring Midway, purchased Alaska in 1867.
We're using gunboat diplomacy over in Japan.
1854 and 1855.
You know, major industrialization. We are the most industrialized nation in the world, thanks to people like Vanderbilt, Rockefeller, Carnegie, J.P. Morgan, those captains of industry.
And since we just covered a great span, we can't just say that this is one person's agenda, one president's agenda, I should say. It's like, it's becoming the agenda of the United States.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say at this point?
And I mean, and geographically, we've been blessed as a nation.
Yeah.
You know, we're surrounded by two oceans.
Sure.
Our neighboring countries, Canada and Mexico, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, we're not surrounded by many nations, it's two nations. Our neighbors to the north, Canada, we've had a relatively peaceful relationship with them ever since they've come into existence. Our relationship with Mexico, I mean, we fought a war with them, and we kind of wiped the floor with them.
Right.
So they were not deemed a threat to us. We've enjoyed our lives for the last 30 years since the end of the Civil War.
So we're pretty much, we're a castle surrounded by a moat.
Yeah, pretty much.
If you're going to invade the United States, you're going to have a hard time.
Yep.
Ask the British in 1812. So with all that in mind, you know, it's now 1898. And now we're also, interestingly enough, you know, we're analyzing a speech, or part of this speech given by McKinley, who was the last president to actually serve in the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy that actually knows what war looks like. He knows what death looks like.
Served at the Battle of Antietam, the bloodiest day in American history.
You had a front row seat to death and carnage like nobody else
Yeah.
has ever had. Now, there are other people out there that want to beat that imperialism drum, let's expand and all that. You know, we mentioned Alfred Thayer Mahan, but you also had Theodore Roosevelt, you know, who was able to back up whatever he was able to say. But, you know, he hadn't seen war up until this point. So with that,
and I think it helps put it into context to understand what he's going to start talking about. The grounds for such intervention may be briefly summarized as follows. Spain. Spain, by the turn of the 20th century, is desperately trying to hold on to its once mighty empire. It once was the richest and most powerful country in the world in the 1600s. And now it's dwindled. There have been revolutions and rebellions all throughout Central and South America. There's only a few colonial possessions left in Spain. And it's talking specifically about what's happening in Cuba right now.
so kind of a little bit of a, I guess we'll break it down
Yeah.
after each paragraph. So here's what McKinley has to say. And I took parts of this from his speech, you know, most importantly because he said briefly summarized as follows. So the grounds for such intervention may be briefly summarized as follows. First, in the cause of humanity, and put an end to the barbarities, bloodshed, starvation, and horrible miseries now existing there, and which the parties to the conflict are either unable or unwilling to stop or mitigate. It is no answer to say this is all in another country, belonging to another nation, and is therefore none of our business. It is especially our duty, for it is right at our door. So,
He's referring to General Valerio Weyler, the butcher, as he was commonly referred to in our yellow journalism press, is slaughtering the Cuban people. He's relocating them into concentration camps where they are starving to death. There is a guerrilla warfare style civil revolution going on in the jungles of Cuba. And the best way that the Spanish figured, just let's kill all their family.
Yep.
You know, let's make them not want to fight anymore. So that's this horrible misery, bloodshed, barbarities that are taking place.
but when you're saying there, you're talking
Yeah, and he's basically saying, we can't say it's none of our business.
it's 90 miles away.
Yeah, like that was an answer of like, okay, what was happening of, you know,
In Europe.
or
anywhere
no,
else.
we can no longer say this. If we're going to be like the pillar of freedom and rights throughout the world, we can't ignore atrocities such as this.
And he's saying, you know, this is our duty.
Yeah.
For it is right at our door. And this was a guy who was also very religious as well. So, anything else we want to add with this paragraph?
Nope.
We have conflict. This is what's going on. So, this is his summary. So, first in the cause of humanity. So, humanity is his first cause. Let's see what else he's going to use to justify intervention. Second, we owe it to our citizens in Cuba to afford them that protection and indemnity for life and property, which no government there can or will afford. And to that end, to terminate the conditions that deprive them of legal protection.
All right, so we've got citizens living in Cuba.
Yeah.
There's this war going on, there's revolution going on in Cuba. These atrocities are taking place. We've got American citizens living there. It's our job to protect our own citizens.
Not only do we have American citizens there, we have business interests there as well. So we're protecting the citizens, we're also protecting our business interests as well. Third, the right to intervene may be justified by the very serious injury to the commerce, trade, and business of our people, and by the wanton destruction of property and devastation of the island. Oh, okay, so look at that, just what we just said.
Yep.
So, you're bringing the human approach to it, and then again, we are talking about, commerce and trade, all right? Now, anything else we want to add with this third one?
Nope.
All right, so let's look at fourth. Fourth, and which is of the utmost importance, the present condition of affairs in Cuba is a constant menace to our peace and entails upon this government an enormous expense. With such a conflict waged for years in an island so near us, and with which our people have such trade and business relations, when the lives and liberty of our citizens are in constant danger and their property destroyed and themselves ruined, where our trading vessels are liable to seizure and are seized at our every door by warships of a foreign nation, the expeditions of filibustering that we are powerless to prevent altogether, and the irritating questions and entanglements thus arising, all these and others that I need not mention, with the resulting strained relations, are a constant menace to our peace and compel us to keep on a semi-war footing with a nation with which we are at peace. So again, we are talking about, that encroachment on trade or commerce as well. Lives, you see liberty coming up again, which is nice. Constant menace to our peace, again, they're 90 miles away. Could impact our peace. We have business interests down there. We have people down there as well. Anything else we need on this?
So yeah, in a sense, to keep the peace,
Yep.
we have to go to war. Pretty much what he's saying here.
Yep. Can't turn the blind eye to this and the deaf ear anymore.
Nope.
Right? And, again, I think the fact that this is coming from him means a lot. Because, again, we mentioned this is your last president who actually served in a civil war. So when it comes to going to war, this is something that he is not going to take lightly. And in fact, he comes up with, pretty much 4 good reasons as to why we should go to war.
Yep.
Anything else we needed on this one?
Nope.
All right, well, it's off to war. Remember the Maine. To hell with Spain. Thanks for watching.